If you experienced playing with Acheron or Firefly, you must have felt something. That feeling where there is no doubt in your mind that these two characters are gonna sit on top of the meta. Feixiao will do just that. Or maybe even more simply because she synergizes so well with one of the current strongest support in the game. In this guide, there is a lot to cover. Most importantly, we will talk about how to maximize Feixiao's performance on both gearing and setting up her best teammates. If you found the guide helpful, consider liking the video and subscribe so you don't miss out on up-to-date information. I always read everyone's comments, so feel free to ask questions that were not answered in the video. Without further ado, the Xianzhou Yao Qing's Merlin's Claw, and one of the 7 Arbiter Generals. Unconventional and straightforward, she exudes effortless charm. She is skilled in all forms of martial arts, and has honed herself into a supreme weapon. She is widely adored by Xianzhou soldiers and civilians alike as the vanquishing general. However, she bears the burden of the Moon Rage affliction. If she were to hunt down all the abominations in her limited lifetime, then the only enemy Feixiao has would be herself. Feixiao is a 5-star wind element character that specializes in buffing up herself and dealing massive amounts of single target damage through her ultimate and follow-up attacks. She follows the hunt path. Feixiao's playstyle is rather simple. She wants to generate stacks as fast as possible to spam her ultimate, which is her main source of damage. She will generate stacks called Flying Aureus whenever ally attacks. For every 2 attacks, she generates 1 stack. This includes her own attacks except for her ultimate. You can monitor this through her battle interface. Half a ring is equivalent to half a stack. Her talent allows herself to perform a follow-up attack whenever a teammate attacks. This can happen once every turn. If Feixiao uses her skill, she will automatically trigger her own talent, and this doesn't count towards the trigger limit. What this basically means is that if Feixiao uses her skill, she can potentially gain 1.5 stacks from that turn. If she only uses her basic attack, she can only gain a maximum of 1 stack, assuming a teammate would always trigger her follow-up attack. Taking these into consideration, you can see why it is extremely important for Feixiao to be paired with teammates that perform a lot of attacks. The more frequent Feixiao and her team attacks, the faster she gains stacks for her ultimate. Other than that, here are some important things to note. Feixiao is excellent at buffing up herself. Her skill grants herself a 48% attack buff for 3 turns through her A6 trace. Her talent provides a 60% damage increase buff for 2 turns whenever she performs a follow-up attack. Lastly, she gains a 36% critical damage increase on her follow-up attacks through her A4 trace. Additionally, this trace makes her ultimate considered as a follow-up attack. Therefore, would benefit from the critical damage increase. Her ultimate allows you to choose between 2 attacks. One deals more damage when the enemy is not in a broken state. The other attack deals more damage when the enemy is in a broken state. Press autoplay on her ultimate if you don't want to worry about this, since the AI would automatically pick the best option. Each ultimate costs 6 stacks to use, but she can keep stacks beyond 6. Technically up to 13 stacks, which is 12 plus 2 half rings in reserve. It ignores enemy weakness and will double its toughness damage if the enemy is not in a broken state. When entering battles, Feixiao immediately gains 3 stacks of Flying Aureus through her A2 trace. If no one triggers her follow-up before she takes her turn, she gains half a stack for free. Lastly, her technique increases her move speed and gathers enemies around herself. Attacking while the technique is active starts the battle with all the pulled enemies. After entering battle, Feixiao deals critical wind damage to all enemies. The damage increases based on the amount of enemies pulled in. Additionally, it provides 1 Flying Aureus stack. This is Feixiao's light cone ranking. I used the assumption that Feixiao has a 3-turn ultimate rotation, while her teammates provide the remaining stacks needed. No specific teammates were taken into account. Lastly, Feixiao is wearing speed boots. As expected, Feixiao's best light cone is her signature. I venture forth to hunt. It has a very high base attack that is only unique to a few other light cones. It gives 15% critical rate increase, which makes getting a good balance on critical stats easier. Most importantly, it provides up to 54% defense ignore on her ultimate. As mentioned earlier, her ultimate is her main source of damage. However, you can see that it is not that far ahead when it comes to her other premium light cone options. I will say it right here. You don't particularly need her light cone. If you have Feixiao or Topaz's signature light cones, they are very good with Feixiao. In fact, if we add the assumption that Feixiao is teamed up with a Nihility that provides multiple sources of debuffs, Feixiao's LC can pull ahead. Although it is also worth mentioning that Feixiao is not that synergistic with Nihilities, so things aren't that simple either. Then again, Topaz and Mose who can apply debuffs exist. I will talk more about this in the team synergy section. The other light cone options are straightforward. I do want to warn you about swordplay. If there's an AoE attacker in the team and causes Feixiao to switch targets with her follow-up attack, it will dispel swordplay and reset the stacks. Stellar C seems strong, but that is mostly because I'm assuming that Feixiao is wearing speed boots, and the whole calculation doesn't take into account her teammates. For example, being with Robin obviously makes attack percent boosts heavily diminished. For the Cavern Relics, Feixiao's best in slot is Valor set with Grand Duke being slightly behind by 3 to 4%. Eagle set is usable as long as you know what you are doing. I might make a whole separate video on how to use Feixiao with Eagle set. Aim for a critical rate body and speed main stat for the boots. It is possible to go for a critical damage body instead if you rolled too many critical rate stats, especially if the light cone she is using provides critical rate stats as well. Attack boots can be viable too if you know what you are doing, else it is safer to go for speed boots. For the Planar set, Feixiao's best in slot is Duran, and other options are not even close. If you really need alternatives, there is Izumo if Feixiao is paired with another Hunt or the old reliable Salsado. Aim for an attack rope and damage for the sphere. Feixiao's first Eidolon provides a stacking damage increase each time she attacks in her ultimate. Think of its effect like 4-piece Grand Duke, where each hit of a follow-up attack provides a stacking attack increase. It is the same for this Eidolon, except the stacking buff is a whole separate multiplier. Feixiao's second Eidolon makes follow-up attacks give her 1 full stack instead of 0.5 stack each. This can trigger up to 6 times per turn. While it is hard to quantify how much damage increase Feixiao gets from this Eidolon, it is no doubt extremely powerful. It will drastically improve the frequency of Feixiao's ultimate. Feixiao's fourth Eidolon doubles the toughness reductions of her talent's follow-up attacks. At the same time, it provides a 2-turn 8% speed increase. Pretty straightforward. Feixiao's final Eidolon allows her ultimate to penetrate all type damage resistance by 20%. Additionally, her talent's follow-up attack modifier is increased by 140% and is now considered as ultimate damage. Obviously, having the follow-up attack from talent considered as ultimate damage means it will also benefit from the all-type damage resistance penetration effect. This Eidolon also has a particularly strong synergy with her light cone, as it means that all of her talent procs will gain 54% defense ignore. The most basic team composition for Feixiao is to have a second damage dealer that attacks frequently, a team-wide buffer or AoE debuffer, and a sustain. As explained earlier, having teammates that attack frequently helps Feixiao gain stacks faster. Damage dealers that utilize follow-up attacks easily come to mind. However, we are now in an era where we have multiple follow-up attacker options that also provide some form of support. Namely, there's Topaz, Mose, and Hunt March. Topaz as Feixiao's best pair and premium support. Mose as a strong alternative. Hunt March being the free-to-play option. Although I would argue that no one is objectively better than the other. Feixiao's best pair will ultimately depend on the team composition and the enemies you are facing. If Feixiao is wearing Feixiao's signature light cone, Mose can potentially be her best pair, because Mose can apply 2 debuffs through his skill and ultimate. A potential 3rd debuff if he is equipped with Topaz's signature. Topaz can apply 2 debuffs through her skill and signature light cone. So if you want to maximize the effect of Ratio signature on Feixiao, you'll need 1 more debuff from a teammate, or simply break enemies to apply a break effect debuff. For team-wide buffers, there's Robin, Ruin Mei, and Asta. Robin stands out as Feixiao's best support. Robin to Feixiao is like Nihilides to Acheron or Harmony Trailblazer to Firefly. While Feixiao's performance doesn't plummet too hard without Robin, her performance with her is just on a whole new level. As expected when pairing a powerful damage dealer that synergizes extremely well with one of the strongest support in the game. For AoE debuffers, there's Pella and Jiaochu. Jiaochu stands out for the fact that he is great at supporting damage dealers whose main source of damage is their ultimate. Pella is great with Feixiao equipped with her signature light cone, or Ratio's signature due to the stacking defense reductions. The best sustain option for Feixiao currently would be Aventurine or Gallagher. Aventurine for his follow-up attacks, and Gallagher for his advance forward that allows him to attack more frequently. Preservation March is also excellent for her counters, but obviously a lot harder to use. Yunli is also a viable sustain as long as you know what you are doing. Similar to Preservation March, she performs counters which generate stacks for Feixiao. Here are some special mentions: Bronya, Sparkle, Acheron, Jade, and Yukong. Bronya and Sparkle for their advance forward. After all, more actions for Feixiao means more talent resets. Acheron if Feixiao is equipped with Topaz's light cone. A single skill cast and talent proc from Feixiao can provide Acheron up to 3 stacks. Jade if she has her first Eidolon unlocked. A single skill cast and talent proc from Debt Collector Feixiao can provide Jade up to 9 stacks. Yukong because Feixiao can use 2 ultimates consecutively under Yukong's massive buffs. Still, while it is strong on paper, it is hard to apply in practice. Overall, Feixiao is an extremely powerful single-target damage dealer and will sit on top of the meta. Should you try to pull Feixiao if you get the chance? Yes. Aside from limited support characters, pulling for top-tier damage dealers can be considered as being resourceful. Feixiao has the same pull value as Acheron and Firefly, if not higher. If you don't care about the meta, then feel free to skip her. Now let me answer the biggest question when it comes to Feixiao. Does Feixiao need Robin? No. Does Feixiao get a significant performance boost with Robin? No, because it's not just a significant performance boost. The two combined creates possibly the strongest team setup currently in HSR. And no, it's not just because Robin is a very strong support. It is really the combination of having 2 top-tier characters in the same team with an extremely strong synergy with each other. There's a bandwagon right now where a lot of people say that it is Robin who always carries. This is actually very easy to debunk. Does Robin trigger her additional attacks by herself? No. Does Robin generate her own energy by herself? No. If Robin is the one carrying the team, then why is she so reliant on the team? The answer is simple, because HSR is a team game and team synergy is important. Right now, Feixiao is unmatched when it comes to attack frequency. If she uses her skill and a teammate triggers her talent, it means she can attack up to 3 times per turn. Obviously, this is great for Robin because it allows Robin to trigger her additional attacks at high frequency and generate a lot of energy through her talent. Feixiao is still great without Robin, but I personally recommend that you get Robin if you truly want Feixiao to perform at her best. And that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you on the next one.